Come with me on a 24-hour shift on a Sunday in Germany. My name is Hazar. I'm a pediatric resident doctor in Germany. I went to the hospital at 8:30 and was literally the only person walking the streets on a Sunday morning in Germany. After changing and preparing for the shift, I sat with a colleague who had worked the night shift and took over from him. That day, I was responsible for the neonatal intensive care unit and the ER. Yes, you heard right. I was responsible for both. Luckily, the babies in the NICU were all stable. I started by checking the monitors and reviewing the files of the sickest babies first, then discussed with the nurses what changes we needed to apply regarding medication, nutrition, infusions, and ventilation. I also checked blood test results and visited the most critical babies first. In the NICU, we usually wait for the babies to wake up, which is very cute. But if a baby is critically ill, they are often sedated and rarely awake. So you don't wait. After finishing my round, my attending came at 12 o'clock. I discussed with him the changes I had made, and he reviewed my orders for the critically ill babies. Around 14 o'clock, I got a call from the OBGYN team about an emergency C-section at the 36 weeks of pregnancy. In Germany, a pediatrician has to be present at every C-section, even in advanced pregnancies, to be ready for the baby. Everything went well, but the baby initially had breathing problems, which was expected. She had what we call wet lungs, a common issue in premature newborns. We gave her tip-up breathing support and stimulated her until she could breathe on her own. I stayed with her until I was sure she didn't need to come with us, and then allowed the nurses to bring her to her mother. Most of the time, the connection between mother and baby helps the newborn adapt to the new environment faster and easier, which is why I give them some time together before deciding to transfer the baby to the NICU. Then I got a call from the ER about a 4-year-old girl who had knee pain. At the same time, an ambulance arrived with a 3-year-old boy who was having a seizure. I had to prioritize the boy since the girl was stable with good vital signs. The boy's medical history showed leukemia, so we had to run more advanced diagnostics, including a lumbar puncture and MRI. Of course, I called my attending for this case. Afterwards, I was called again for another C-section, this time for a full-time pregnancy. At 17:30, I was finally able to eat something before the ER started to get busy again. More than 80% of the cases in the ER were not true emergencies. It's quite common in Germany for the ER to serve almost like a private practice. I finished with the ER around 1 a.m. and started to feel sleepy. I completed some documentation and managed to get to bed around 2 a.m. At 4 a.m., I was paged again by the OBGYN team for a newborn delivered spontaneously at 34 pregnancy weeks who had difficulty adapting after birth. This time, I had to take the baby with us to the NICU for intensive treatment with tape-up. We finished around 6 a.m. and I was able to sleep for 1 more hour. At 7 a.m., I had to get up to prepare for the takeover and take blood for the plant tests. At 8:30, I joined the team to give my report about the previous day and officially hand over my patients. Finally, at 9 a.m., I went home after a very busy weekend shift.